Austin Fawley woke up the Rebels bats for a 6-3 win over the Missouri State Bears. It's very good. The Rebels take the series. They get ready for the sweep on tomorrow. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast out there. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former football staff member at Ole Miss as well. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network in America. That is because of fans like you taking in content like this, and we are very appreciative of that. On today's show, we'll talk about Ole Miss beating Missouri State 6-3. Austin Fawley, with his bases clearing 3-run double, broke the game open. It was a slog for the bats for a large portion of it, but the pitching was pretty sublime. We'll talk about that. All of this and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're available and free on all of the podcast apps and YouTube, and a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is, your team every day. Have your cake and drink it too. Birthday cake flavor is back. No fork needed. Vanilla cake, cakey flavor, caffeinated kick, and no sugar. It's party time. Order now at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. All right, so this was an interesting game. The bats, for a large portion, I think Ole Miss had 2 hits, like 4 or 5 innings into the game. They did have the RBI single by Tristan Becerra that gave them the cushion of a run for a large portion of that game. Missouri State kind of got back into it with a home run to tie it up, and then a 3-run double by Austin Fawley, followed by either a squeeze play or a safety squeeze. I'm not exactly sure which one by Hayden Federico. Got another run. I think my boy, I think Braden Randall or somebody was at third. Maybe Fawley was at third. And he came in. It was basically a squeeze play. I don't know if it was a safety squeeze or a suicide squeeze, though. I did not see the actual play. But when you looked at replay, he looked like he ran pretty early from third. So it looked kind of like a suicide squeeze, or it was going to work out that way if Hayden Federico did not make contact, if that makes sense. So it was a good day. Dom Decker, 1 for 4. Tristan Becerra, 2 for 4. Colin Reuter, 1 for 4. Will Furnace, 2 for 4, had a pretty good day hitting the ball. Will Furnace absolutely had a good day hitting the ball. Fawley was 1 for 3. Braden Randall, 1 for 3. And Hayden Federico was 1 for 4. That was that squeeze play where Ole Miss scored a run in that game. Pitching-wise was very good by Ole Miss. We talk about the struggles they had hitting the ball. A lot of that was Max Knight. The lefty on the hill for Missouri State was pretty good today. A lot of it was that, but a lot of it is just sometimes it's just not there, and you need to be able to win games in different ways. And yesterday it was the bats taking up for Hunter Elliott. Ole Miss has won games in different ways for a large part of this season. They have won games in different ways that give you hope going into SEC play. And right now, currently, they're 7-0 on a 7-game win streak, going for a sweep tomorrow against Missouri State. A lot of that had to do with Townsend, the starting pitcher. He threw for 4 innings. Now, I do not know why he didn't get the 5th inning so he could get the win next to his name, but he had 4 innings, only 2 hits. He walked 1 batter, which is always important. You're going to hear me harp on walking batters all the time. I'm not a big fan of that. He had 8 strikeouts, a lot of them early. He faced 16 batters. I think he did hit a batter as well. But when you look at what went on, he had 63 total pitches. 43 of them went for strikes. His ERA for the season at this point is 1.04. He has been very reliable as a starting pitcher, especially on Saturdays. Then Taylor Rabe went into the game. Now, he did groove a fastball right down the middle on 3-2 that got hit for a home run. And that did happen. But he was good as this game went on until he got tired later on in the 8th inning. I think that was the 8th inning. He gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, had 3 strikeouts on the day, faced 13 batters, 48 total pitches, 32 strikes. His ERA for the season is 4.05. It was was picked up by, I think, Landon Koenig, 1.2 inning, 2/3 inning, gave up 2 hits, struck out 2 batters, faced 7 total batters. That's pretty much, let's see, 5. So it's 2 more than the minimum. He did give up a double, an extra base hit, but overall he threw 19 total pitches, 15 of them for strikes. This was a good day by Ole Miss, their baseball team, in figuring out how to win another way. This wasn't the Bats just slugging their way to a win like it was in the Friday night game, like it was at times against Jackson State or Arkansas State. The pitching staff really woke up. They do an excellent job generally. They did not on Friday night of not walking batters and giving extra base runners. Tonight for the game, they walked 1 hitter. 1 guy got a base on balls tonight. And that is something you can look at as a positive moving forward. The starting pitching and the base relievers for this team are really good. Now, there is an importance where they're going to need to stay healthy. You know, Major League Baseball started their spring games today, spring training. Detroit got blown out by the New York Yankees, and people were overreacting all over the place. Kevin McGonigal got a hit in his first at bat in spring training. But the point is, the Tigers have an excellent rotation. They have 5 guys that you would be proud to have in your starting rotation. But the reality is they're not going to last. It's going to be 9 or 10 starters, that people that start games during the season. So you need to have depth. The point is, Ole Miss's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday starter, fantastic. The bullpen arms in that time, fantastic. You need the midweek arms to hit. They didn't necessarily against Arkansas State. They didn't necessarily against Jackson State, but these are new pitchers kind of learning the ropes. As this gets closer to SEC play, you need the starting pitching and the pitching as a whole, the depth to emerge. Again, like I said, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, Ole Miss is fine right now. But if one of those arms go down and there's a reshuffle needed, it could get problematic. That is all my point on that. All right, so we're going to take your comments in the third segment if there are any comments there. Again, I understand what's happening. We're going to have like a 15, 20-minute stream tonight. So we will take your comments. Please, if you do comment, put where you're commenting from. I do want to give you a shout out from where you are commenting from. This baseball team is winning games in different ways. They're not overly slugging every night. They're not pitching you to death, but in different times, they're doing what is necessary to win games. And their fielding this weekend has been pretty good. Today, the fielding was good. And I think it's important to where if we are going to harp on them having 4 errors in an inning against Arkansas State on a Tuesday night, we need to talk about Saturday when there was no errors and they played really clean baseball. I think it's important to mention that as well. So this baseball team moving, getting ready for what could come is going to be very, very important as well. When we come back, we will talk a little bit about the baseball game as a whole and what is coming up in the midweek and where Ole Miss can go from here. All that when we come back. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Listen, welcome to the 5-hour energy flavor draft. We're looking at every aspect of the draft and let you know which tasty flavors are the best and which just might be sleepers. The board is set, the flavors are ready, and there's only one going to take the top spot. 5-hour energy has a wide variety of flavors. So if you're basic like me, or if you want the extravagant stuff, it is there for you. There's literally something for everything. It's everybody. To me, the number one pick by far, cherry. I love cherry flavors on just about everything. I don't know what it's about. 5-hour energy is no different. There's other things like pomegranate and confetti craze and fruity rainbow and cotton candy or birthday cake or something like that is available. I think the sleeper might be the pomegranate, by the way, just pointing that out. But if you want one of the old standbys like cherry or strawberry, grape is also an option. It's very, very tasty and can help you out as well. So circle back to a flavor that you tried previously with 5-Hour Energy. Find your new favorite flavor of 5-Hour Energy or 5-Hour Energy shots, available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking, hey, which team can make a deep run? This is the perfect time to lock in. I love the futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the title or grabbing a conference title as well. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, but it could also send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game. The official sports betting partner of the NBA. It's FanDuel. It's super, super fun.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. It was a heavyweight showdown between number 3 South Carolina and number 7 LSU, and the Gamecocks rose to the occasion. South Carolina secured a hard-fought 79-72 victory to stay atop the SEC standings, using a balanced offensive attack to outlast the Tigers. Tessa Johnson led the way with 21 points, while Raven Johnson added 19. Medina Oka dominated the paint with a double-double, finishing with 12 points and 17 rebounds, while Joyce Edwards chipped in 10 points to round out the scoring. With the statement win, the Gamecocks now turn their attention to a road matchup at number 23 Alabama on Thursday. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Hey, do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. It costs nothing, but it keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. That's all because of you. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 per month or $50 per year. Go to lockedonolemmiss.supercast.com or check the link out down in the description. You can also see stuff from Dalen Flowers in Oxford, Coach Corey Burton breaking down the players, and Mike Huseman as well. All right, so we're going to take your questions real quick and your comments. Be sure to comment with where you're commenting from. We're going to shout that out as well. Ole Miss was able to win 6-3 over Missouri State to win the series. They're in the catbird seat for another sweep and get ready for their Houston tour of what's going on as well. We got Mary Ronaldo says, howdy toddy from Will and Mary in New Orleans. Howdy toddy. I hope you're doing quite well, Mary. Pretty good baseball game. Pretty good baseball game indeed. Must be Dusty. Hotty Toddy from South Haven. Let's keep this streak going. Says, glad you're doing these baseball streams. I haven't been able to watch the game. Yeah, I appreciate that very much. It doesn't do really well on video yet. Once we get into SEC play, it's going to tick up a little bit, but it's doing really well on audio at the moment. So people listening to what's going on and stuff like that. So that's pretty good. He says Judd is going to have a great season if he keeps it up. He drew the collar today. He went 0 for 4 today. But after you hit home runs, multiple home runs at back-to-back games, I guess you can draw the collar at and be okay. Now, one thing that is interesting about what's going on is the Houston series that is coming up this weekend. That is the big tournament that Ole Miss is playing in. We're going to talk about that. I probably should have had that up already, but I'm bringing it up now. Ole Miss has Southeast Missouri State in the midweek on Tuesday night. I will have Chad Smith on Wednesday or Thursday to break down the Ole Miss baseball team going into this tournament. Southeast Missouri State, Ole Miss should win that game. We talk about the need to stack wins. This absolutely goes. On the TV for the weekend series is going to be on Astros.com. I do not know what that means exactly, but we'll dig into that over the course of the week. Ole Miss plays Friday at 3:05, Saturday at 11 a.m., and Sunday at 10 a.m. And there's two fairly difficult games that Ole Miss has to deal with in Houston. So Must Be Dusty says, how do you think we're going to hold up in the Texas tournament? Baylor is the guy that hit 3 grand slams in one game. He plays for Baylor. That's going to be one of the most difficult games that Ole Miss has played so far. There's a game against Ohio State, which is interesting, I guess. The Big Ten teams coming through what's going on, and they close out on Sunday morning against Coastal Carolina, who played for the national championship last year, I do believe. And then you have a weird weird midweek after that with Memphis and North Alabama. I'm not 100% sure. I think Ole Miss is going to hold up pretty well. I think they will play and score some runs on Baylor. I think the same thing with Ohio State. They're going to win those because of the starters they're going to put out. Whenever you have Coastal Carolina in your third spot, that means that Will Libbert is going to take the hill against Coastal Carolina. That gets weird at that point. So I think taking 2 in Houston, that's a realistic expectation because I don't know if anybody can necessarily predict exactly how this is going to go. Again, the TV for the tournament is going to be Astros.com. So you're going to have to stream it, essentially. So we'll see. If there's a paywall, there may not be any live streams with what's going on. And unless they charge like $3 or something like that for the weekend. If they charge $25, $30 like Flow Sports used to do, that is probably not going to happen. But if Astros.com has a decent rate, I will subscribe and do interviews or do reactions as well. We'll overreact as crazy. So we'll see exactly how that goes. But Ole Miss has Baylor Friday, Ohio State Saturday, Coastal Carolina Sunday. Games are at 3:05 Central on Friday, 10:05 a.m. on Saturday, and or 11:05 a.m. on Saturday and 10:05 on Sunday. So we'll see exactly how that goes and where it plays out. It's going to be played at the Houston Astros Stadium. I enjoy that stadium. That is pretty fantastic. All right, so we will be doing reactions. We'll have one for Southeast Missouri. And if we can get into the Astros.com and it's not too overly expensive, we will do one there. If not, we will have to make other things work. Most of these midweeks, they're on SEC Network Plus or ESPN Plus or something like that, something that we can do. This Astros.com, I have to see exactly how that goes. So we'll look into what is going on there. Anyway, thanks for tuning in today to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk Ole Miss baseball until this season ends with what's going on. So make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you can get all the latest episodes. We're on all the social channels as well. So check that out. Never miss an episode. The Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Ole Miss ad free, plus members only Discord access and more head to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com to join the club. For those on you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen either Locked On College Football or Locked On SEC. Hotty toddy, everybody, and hopefully all of this goes well. Before we get out of here, one more comment. I love Libert going against Coastal Carolina. He's got excellent stuff. He's got electric stuff. I need to see just a little bit more. That's all. That's all I'm saying. So we will talk to everybody when the game ends tomorrow. Go US Hockey in the morning. I'm going to check out the Detroit Tigers game against the Baltimore Orioles tomorrow and the Ole Miss game, and then we will live stream just like we always do on this channel. So take care. We will talk to you later. Hotty toddy, everybody.